Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Thursday, December 4, 2025 and I'm Abdul Majid.
And I'm Richard Fitzgerald. Nice to be with you this morning.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great show today with a lot of big headlines. So first, let's quickly get to the headlines. Paramount, Skydance, new Warner Brothers Discovery bid secures backing from Gulf Sovereign Wealth Funds. It's a new Variety report. Saudi Arabia's PIF is set to take 93.4% stake in Electronic Arts, first time revealed. And the total bid, everyone knows, is a 55 billion takeover. And very important regional story from a regional founder. Replit, founded by Jordanian-American Amjad Masad, is targeting $1 billion annual recurring revenue by 2026.
Love these positive Thursday morning stories. It's great. It's exciting, isn't it? Isn't business the cool thing to be in at the moment?
Especially in Q4. It's just so nice to see everything is happening here. We see so much happening here. The first thing I would ask you, Rich, is what about the Arab Cup? I've seen so much stories. We all love sports. Rich especially loves football. I am into football, but
I was watching the Arab Cup last night, and from a streaming point of view, Todd put it on for free, so it's really good. But it's in Qatar. Qatar hosted this revamped FIFA Arab Cup a year before they hosted the FIFA World Cup in 2022. So they hosted in 2021, and now 4 years later, they're hosting the FIFA Arab Cup. It includes the Gulf, it includes Levant, and it includes some African teams and North African teams as well. And at the same time, where you've got you've got Asian Cups, you've got AFCON coming up in January. So it's hard to fit everything in. But the Arab Cup has been sporadic for the last 50 years for geopolitics, for different reasons, and it's had revamped names. But it's actually a source of pride. There's one comment I saw on a post on X saying that the Saudi League took a break just to give the Saudi team every chance to win the Arab Cup, because I was reading a book. And at the time when Saudi first tried to build a great footballing nation in the 70s, they brought in a well-known English football guy over, Jimmy Hill, and at the time Saudi's still is a big country, but Kuwait kept winning the Arab Cup, so they didn't really, it was like, hang on, it's like when England are, the home of football, and they don't win the World Cup, they kind of go, well, what's going on? Or when Ireland beat England in football, they're like, because at the end of the day, it's 11 v 11, it's not to do with GDP, workforce, brain power, or whatever, total, workforce, So anyway, I was watching last night, and of course UAE, so UAE were playing Jordan, and Jordan were the first of these nations to qualify for the FIFA 2026 World Cup. And the Jordanian FA have gone through a resurgence. There's lots of nice backstories there to look into. There's a member of the royal family involved in FIFA. The Jordanian football is on a growth spurt, and it's doing quite well. So they were playing UAE last night, and they went 1-0 up, a dodgy penalty, guy got sent off. And then the keeper took down a Jordanian forward, 10 minutes later, still in the first half. And he didn't get sent off, so they weren't reduced to 9 men. He got up, he saved the penalty.
Nice.
So now UAE back in it, and the stadium is pretty full, and it's full of Jordanians. Eventually Jordan won 2-1. But UAE were in the group, and then they lost in a first qualifier for the FIFA 2026 World Cup against Qatar, a double leg against Qatar. And then they went into a second we call the backdoor, a second chance to qualify for the FIFA World Cup, and they lost to Iraq. And now they've lost against Jordan. And so the Cosby, the coach, is under immense pressure because they keep losing.
I think what I would want to know, because you follow UAE football a lot, I sporadically follow it, but where do you see them? Because we see the neighbors are doing great. What do you see, since you follow so much football, where is the weak point?
Bahrain, so there was another tournament a few months ago, and Bahrain, I think, won, and Oman did well. I just think, international football is you can't use it as a barometer of judging the success of the health of the state of the holistic health of football in the UAE, or football in Saudi, or football in Kuwait, or football in Jordan or whatever. It looks good, and we saw that Palestine beat Qatar, right?
Yeah.
But Qatar, have been doing well in some tournaments, and so Majid, have you ever played like T10 or T20?
Yeah.
Have you ever
A
played?
lot.
Yeah, and if you play with friends and you show up, and on any given weekend, it can click and it can gel. And I think international tournaments are like that. Like, what's the chemistry of the team? How do they get into the camp together? What's the momentum? Are people fit? Are they coming off a break? Is it mid-season? Are they tired? So many different things. But when it's like, when the hope of the nation are watching, and when it's all over social media, and it's a state of pride, and you've got leaders in the stands and all this sort of stuff, it becomes, and when you've got people in their TV studios, commenting, it does have a knock-on effect. But what I like about Bean and Todd's coverage is they're in Souk Waqif, and they're going around with the mic and they're interviewing everyone. There was a controversial thing that happened, actually. One of the commentators, the night before Kuwait were playing.
Oh, yes.
Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it on
If you look
Smashi
it up,
Sports.
Smashi
Yes.
Sports. So we're putting up the scores here behind us, so you can see all the scores there. But Kuwait were playing the night before, and the commentator said that I think, to paraphrase, but the Kuwaiti ladies are very attractive.
Yeah.
And he is being...
He was being called out a lot.
They're basically saying, like, he said the quiet thing out loud,
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that's sort of the wider connotation there is, females weren't always at football games.
Yeah.
And, in the Western world, the cameraman would zoom in on the attractive Scandinavian girls at football games, and that's frowned upon now.
Yeah.
Like 20, 30 years ago, it's like, that sort of, objectifying females isn't nice, right?
Yeah.
And it's not something that the production people should do. And it kind of goes into sexism, it goes into all these areas that it's just unacceptable in sort of cohesive, integrated sport, and football is that now.
Yes.
The female football is on the rise. You can watch all the UAE football on Smashi Sports, the female football, and we saw that Shahad signed with SAF, with Saudi Arabian Football Federation, to show all the female football in Saudi, and the production's really good. The teams are up and coming. There's a lot of stars over there already. Anyway, I could go on, but that's the Arab Cup. Keep watching it. Ronaldo is in Bulgari hotel because he's playing in a friendly in Abu Dhabi against Al Wada. Al Nasser are playing Al Wada on the 10th in Abu Dhabi. If you want to get down to that, you can get tickets to see Al Nasser. They're taking sort of a bit of a break. He's in town. A lot of these stars will probably be at the F1 as well in Abu Dhabi. But, the Arab Cup is ongoing. Who knows who's going to win? I don't know. Who would you fancy in this one?
I would say Saudi Arabia. I just want them as a national team to win something, but I'm always in favor of Qatar, Bahrain, Oman. Any team winning. The beauty of Arab Cup is that all of them are our teams. We would support anyone, but I would 100% say whoever plays the best football on the night.
Yeah. At the moment,
I've
the
always
game...
been that kind of a sports fan. Whoever plays good football, I'll be in their favor.
Yeah. There were some posts and some comments about Morocco. They obviously got to the semi-final of the Qatar World Cup, and they won the Under-17 World Cup, didn't they, in Qatar? And they're in this Arab Cup, aren't they?
I didn't see the whole lineup. I remember...
Just double-check that for me before I go on. But I think Morocco are... I think I could be wrong, but I think they won their first game quite well.
Yeah. They won 3-1 against Comoros.
Yeah. So I think Morocco would be the favourites.
Yeah.
But
they're up
like
against
you,
Oman
I'd be
and
sort of
Saudi.
up for Saudi to get them a win. But yeah.
Yeah, I just want their national team to win something because 2034 World Cup is a big chance for them to show up, and I think small wins will give them confidence to eventually build up.
And isn't it ironic that Egypt drew 1-1 the other night, and Mohamed Salah is sitting on the bench in cold Anfield playing against Sunderland with a hoodie over his shoulder. He's been dropped for the last 2 games. Egypt could come over to Qatar, bro.
Why would you pay someone so much to stay? Remember, it was a whole story, like if he is staying, if he is not, if he wants money, and then you'll put them on the bench. I wouldn't.
Well, it's a long season. And they're obviously they signed a lot of players, and they obviously went through a little bit of a loss. But yeah.
But yes, moving on, business stories, biggest story. I think last time Rich was here on the show, we also discussed this same story. Paramount Skydance has submitted a new, higher offer to acquire all of Warner Brothers Discovery, WBD, if we want to refer to it in a shorter term. And for the first time, the bid is partially backed by three of the Middle East's most influential sovereign wealth funds. Sources told Variety, it was an exclusive Variety report, that Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, Qatar Investment Authority, and the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority (ADIA) are participating in the all-cash proposal led by David Ellison.
The exact valuation of the upgraded bid submitted on December 1st remains undisclosed. We're talking about 70 billion roughly, Tariban. Like, you know, let's put this into context. EA went for 55 billion. David Ellison Skydance bought Paramount for 7 or 9 billion. 8-ish years ago, still led by Bob Iger, Disney bought Fox from Rupert Murdoch for 70-ish billion. That was all the Simpsons stuff. So that's all with Disney. Yeah. But what IP is up for grabs is all this sort of Warner Brothers IP. Yeah. There's a load of studios, there's a load of movies, there's classics, there's icons, there's a load of things in there, and there's HBO, and there's Discovery Channel. And there's CNN.
It's a big subscription that you're getting for everything.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of subscription services. There's HBO Max. There's loads of studios, and so that's all mixed into one. It's almost hard to report the size of what IP is here. While Netflix and Comcast have submitted separate offers for only the Warner Brothers studios and HBO Max, including the linear TV assets, Paramount's bid continues to be primarily funded by the Ellison family, including Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, that's David's father, alongside Redbird Capital and Apollo Global Management.
And we saw Redbird involved with IMI for the Telegraph. They're so involved in this region. And although Gulf funds are now involved, sources told Variety that their participation remains below the threshold. This was a very important part. That would require review by CFI, US Center for Foreign Investment in the United States. It's a US government body overseeing foreign investment for national security risk. Paramount's earlier $24 per share offer, which was submitted on November 20, did not include financing from the Middle East, but this one does.
Netflix's second round bid is reportedly mostly cash, with the company promising to honor theatrical releases commitments. That's a big debate in the US at the moment, because Ted Sarandos, who's mainly running Netflix, you know, they don't want any theatrical window, and the theaters, the cinemas, basically want 45 days, and Netflix might do 15 days before they put it on their streaming service, but they're sort of saying, you know, will you keep the 45 days? Will you reduce it to 15? Or can we meet halfway at 30? That's a big debate on the Netflix bid, because so much of the studios is about putting the movies into cinemas. A notable departure from its historical stance. So Netflix, people are saying, okay, they're saying, we will let you have your cinema releases, but no one trusts them. People think once they get the deal done, they're just going to forget about what they said, a bit like a electoral promise, and go back on it once you get elected. So Comcast has also submitted a new proposal. That's the Roberts family. Representatives from all three bidders declined to comment to Variety. It's very hush-hush. Stuff has been leaked out. US media podcasts are obsessed with this story, but
The Warner Bros. Discovery Board Committee is now basically assessing whether to open exclusive negotiations with one of the bidders or request further proposals. The company previously disclosed interest in offers that carve out Warner Brothers from Discovery Global, aligning with its plan to split into two separate businesses by April 2026.
So David Ellison, who had previously offered WBD CEO David Zaslav a leadership role in the merged entity, has submitted 3 unsuccessful bids to date. The board may still choose to reject all offers and continue with its internal split strategy. WBD aims to finalize the M&A review by the end of 2025, setting up one of Hollywood's most consequential corporate decisions in years.
Yeah, it's going to be big. My only concern here is if the Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds, all of them go in together, how this deal will look like if one of them is going, because that's the main angle for us. who is going in, how much they're going in.
Yeah, what do you get out of it? Is it just equity? Because the share prices of WBD has obviously gone up now, but is it just equity, Majid? Do you get board seat? Do you get IPs in the region? You know, Abu Dhabi have done deals with Warner Brothers for the park. They've done deals with Disney for the park. But what does this actually mean? Because when PIF have invested, when the sovereign wealth funds have invested in listed entities, I'm thinking like the cruise liners and Ticketmasters in the past, they don't get involved. They're just like, you're just buying some shares, right? But when you're buying some shares at billions of dollars, you have more involvement. Now, I think you mentioned before, the bid structure, if it's 70 billion and 21 billion come from the region, 7, 7, and 7, then the 50 is from the Ellisons or whatever, or the Comcast. So with a 7 billion of a 70 billion, that's sort of 10%, isn't it? Or is it? And then do they take it private? Do they keep it public? And what's all the management structure? Well, you know, we're obviously talking it from a PIF point of view. But you know, a lot of the debate around IMI and Telegraph and foreign ownership of media, you know, would American culture like that Saudi own their cinemas? Probably not. So that's why they have this regulation around it. But so you know, what does 7 billion get you? And I think that's the question mark. I think, you know, PIF's obviously strategy is to, you know, all the trillions that have committed to Trump, like invest into Saudi, but grow your own domestic economy. So there'll obviously be IP synergies. We'll obviously have more synergies with, you know, we don't have Paramount streaming service in the region per se. You know, so what does the streaming landscape look like? You know, we know that Damak have a Paramount hotel in Dubai, but what entity is that, and what IP is that? So you know, will we see other types of Paramount synergies? I like that David Ellison is sort of leading with the Paramount brand in the acquisition. He's not, you know, Paramount Skydance, but it's sort of like you bought Paramount Studios. You know, and now you probably will take some of this and lead with Paramount. The Paramount ticker on the stock market could become the new ticker for them. Who knows? And then what happens to all the other assets as well? There's a lot of leadership things. He's offering roles to different people. There's a lot of discussions there. In all, it's healthy, it's positive. It's good that there's partnerships and integration and structures like this.
But consolidation, like such a big group coming under Paramount, all of them merging, so many IPs coming under one person or one company or one entity. Does it work? Like, do you think it has the potential to become bigger? Like you were talking about the share price.
No, I don't.
Start $9. Now they're at 24.
I don't. I mean, well, Disney have proven in the past that you can put all these IPs together: Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, and then all the Fox, Simpsons, and everything. So they've proven that you can put IP together. But I think I answered that quickly because, you know, the sort of elephant in the room is the fact that legacy media is declining. Like the reason Warner Brothers Discovery, when David Zaslav took it out of AT&T, he was leading Discovery, and he took all the assets out, the CNN, HBO, and called it Warner Brothers Discovery, because Warner Brothers was in that as well. He didn't call it CNN Discovery or HBO Discovery, he called it Warner Brothers Discovery. But so he took all the assets out, and they were saddled with debt, and he cancelled movies, and he tried to get rid of the debt. And it's been 3 or 4 years, and the share price is just going down, down, down. So they've been really critical of that, and it's because the business model is conflicted with the changing pace of media. So they've been talking about spincos, where you take out your legacy assets, such as terrestrial cable TV, and you split that away, which is declining but still profitable, and you focus on the growth areas like streaming and things like this. So your report there did say that potentially they could turn on all these things and still do their spinco in April. And try and get that share price up and sell off some assets. So, but the you know what they've done really well here, they've got 3 bidders in the ring, and that makes it exciting. And it, you know, when there's 3 bidders like this, and how they've got 3 different bids each, meaning I think we'll have a winner. But you know, the history of M&A in the US, there's so fabled stories. The guy who actually owns Paramount was a guy called Sumner Redstone. He founded the CBS and all these other things, Viacom, which was MTV. And in the early 90s, he had a huge bidding war for Paramount. It's a very famous one against Barry Diller. And it was done like this in the media. And there's a famous quote. Barry Diller went to the wires like all night, all the bankers, all the stuff. He was trying to buy a studio because he ran all the Murdoch Fox assets. He ran all the programming, The Simpsons. And he tried to buy Paramount. And he went to the wire with Summer Redstone. And in the end, it went on for ages. There was a business wars about it. It was really like a dual M&A game,
nice.
You know, and they thought they'd won it, and there was all sorts of like, they were suing each other, and there was all sorts of things going on. And in the end, he lost, and they said to him, you know, how do you feel? And the mic was in front of him, or there was a quote, and he goes, they won, we lost, next. It was like, you know, and then he moved on. But I think he did some stuff in like, you know, TV buying, streaming, and other things, and he's involved in loads of things now. So, you know, what happens next after the M&A, to your point? Like, can they grow this entity? Can they grow IP? Can they not? And, you know, I think what happens is, like, it's just constant evolution of M&A, you know, constant evolution. Like, assets live inside some entities, they live out. I think that's what we're going to see in this region now in media, you know. We're going to see a lot more assets moving around. You know, we saw Tamania go under SRMG. We saw Sarsplay go under Etisalat. We see IMI has some things. Like, you know, the media is going to be a lot more open play in the future here, when it sort of debunks itself with semi-state assets, and when it becomes a lot more about storytelling, a lot more about creativity. Because under media, you don't just have news, you have entertainment, you have book publishing, you have a lot of things, and now you have all the streaming entities. Like we see OSN and Grammy, like they merge together. Will they split out again? Like all these sort of things is often evolving.
Even OSN, Warner Bros. Discovery, like last year, I remember they invested $57 million, bought a minority stake in OSN Plus. So one place they're selling it, one place they're buying some minority stake. It's so convoluted.
And NBC have a little bit of a stake in that sort of Angrami thing. And so that's the nature of media. It's very convoluted, it's very M&A, it's very sort of percentage, and the employees just don't know who's coming or going. You know?
Should we talk about our not the M&A, that we got an email?
Yeah, we did a little acquisition this week, but I think we'll save it for...
it's a surprise.
Yeah, it's a surprise.
But yeah, M&A activity is, to be honest, very big here. But let's talk about another M&A activity. It's actually a very big acquisition. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund is set to acquire 93.4%. Finally, we know how much they'll own as a stake in the US video game giant Electronic Arts as part of a previously announced $55 billion takeover. And this was reported by Wall Street Journal, and they saw a filing reported by the PIF. The deal was agreed in September by a consortium which includes PIF, private equity firm Silver Lake, which has been doing a lot of activity in Abu Dhabi, and affinity partners, Jared Kushner, son-in-law of the Trump family, the investment firm, obviously. Until now, the ownership split had not been disclosed.
Yeah, so the filing with Brazil's antitrust regulator shows that PIF taking the dominant share, with Silver Lake owning 5.5% and Affinity 1.1%. PIF will also roll over its existing 9.9% stake in AA, valued at $5.2 billion at a takeover price. This implies the sovereign wealth fund will inject about $29 billion in new cash to reach its final stake.
And the all-cash transaction will be financed to $36 million in equity from the consortium and $20 billion in debt financing. The deal represents one of the largest gaming acquisitions to date historically, and significantly expands PIF's footprint in the global entertainment and gaming industry.
Wow, yeah, so more PIF mergers. The move comes as PIF reduced its investments in publicly listed US stocks during the third quarter, likely taking profits from a long market rally, despite Crown Prince Hamad bin Salman's pledge to invest $600 billion in the US during Donald Trump's second term. Recent signals suggest equities may not be a major focus of that spending strategy.
Yeah, we recently saw that he said we are going to increase it to 1 trillion also when he went to the White House in Washington. The main idea of the story is 93.4% of EA. And then let's refer to the clip that we shared yesterday of Prince Faisal bin Bandar, the Sports Federation Minister. He has so many.
Yeah.
He's the vice chairman of Savvy Games Group that we saw, the Pokemon Go maker. All of this, there's
expressed interest in, yeah.
Yeah, they've so much focused on gaming right now. And his words that we want to tell Arab stories through gaming.
Yeah.
Such a nice idea.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, we often talk about this, but there's just not enough Arab stories, not enough Arab culture. And we always refer to other cultures when we're doing memes or doing things like this. So I think that's fascinating. Ward and I were talking about the interest in the ByteDance gaming entity last week, and you know, a lot of our conversation was, you know, Savvy Games is interested in that, and PIF is buying EA. Where do they link together? Who owns what? And for me, obviously, you know, it's clear that PIF own 93% of EA, but it should be Savvy Games, no? So I just, you know, it's great that Saudi are buying this stuff. But like where everything fits and who runs what and who owns what and what's next, you know, it's great that there's channels like Smashi Business to report on it daily, because it's just ever evolving, isn't it? Yeah.
I can just give you a hint because I have my wife's friend who works in PIF at a strategic level. She does the research and she runs an R&D department in one of the companies under PIF. So she met her and we had a long chat. She tells me that every company under PIF, which comes like Savvy Games or anything, they have a whole team of their own, and then they have a whole investment strategy. So I think your question is very valid. Where does PIF directly invest, and where do they use the companies that they have? So many companies, so if they have something for games, why not them, and why PIF, right?
Yeah.
And for sports even, right?
It's true, exactly. But what's good about this is that they are being transparent.
Yeah.
You know, which often isn't the way of the region with privately listed entities, especially are in the world. So I like that they're telling us how much of this money is debt, how much of it is equity, how much of it is cash, you know, true debt and things like that. It's just educating the region, and I think that's a good footing to have clarity of the questions that we're asking. Because if they started off like that, but then people will criticize that when these reports come out that you know, some of these massive things aren't given the space in the reports. But maybe that's because we don't have that much data, or that maybe it's because there's so many things to report on. But there are, you know, the listed entities in Saudi are you know, producing these 70, 80 page PDFs in media every year about all their entities and all their divisions. So just fascinating to research, fascinating to report on.
Yeah. Let's move on quickly to the next story, last story of the day. Replit, the software creation platform founded in 2016 by Jordanian-American entrepreneur Amjad Masad, one of our main protagonists from Silicon Valley, is accelerating towards a major financial milestone. The company expects to reach $1 billion in annual recurring revenue by the end of 2026, following one of the fastest ARR growth curves in the sector. Replit has already surged from $2 million to over $250 million in ARR last year, backed by a global community of more than 40 million users.
Replit began as a simple in-browser coding tool built by Masad and co-founders Haya Ode and Patrick Coleman, designed to make programming accessible to anyone. It has since transformed into an all-in-one environment where users can prototype, build, design, and deploy full-stack production-ready apps with a single click. The platform now positions itself as the leading vibe coding solution for enterprises, offering zero setup, seamless data integration, and built-in governance.
And the company's rapid expansion comes as Ghazi Masud joins as Chief Revenue Officer. He wrote a very long LinkedIn post. And Masud, who was formerly at Retool, says Replit was the only company compelling enough to bring him back into the field. His top priority, he said, is building a world-class go-to-market operation across San Francisco and New York, with active hiring underway across sales, engineering, and partnerships. So
we love seeing those Arab names at the high levels, and we talked about, Kalshi yesterday as well, Lebanese founder there. So yeah, it's great to see, and long may it continue. Amjad Masad has spoken at a lot of conferences in the region, and we wait for the offices to open and more talent to be hired. Masud is spending his first week in Japan, meeting major enterprise partners and launching a large-scale hackathon to boost Replit's footprint in the Asia-Pacific region.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting how Replit comes here. Rich said it very nicely that they should have now come here. Mainly 1 billion revenue for a founder, Jordanian and Palestinian. It's very long to write in a headline, so we usually don't write Palestinian, but he's Palestinian, was brought up in Jordan, and then moved to America. Such a nice story. We should talk about the Kalshi story. Yesterday, it's such a nice thing, seeing all these people going on big stages and representing the region.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing to follow as well, like these journeys and these stories. But those numbers, 40 million people using Replit, like that's not nothing. That's no longer like a few hundred early adopters. Like that's AI.
Yeah.
What that means for web development houses and things like that. But like anyone who's starting a business now should be thinking about, I can get an app done and a design app done on Replit quite quickly. Have you tried it, Majid?
I have tried Replit a lot.
Did you launch an app?
I tried, but I think I need a little bit of more tweaking. I know one person, Lulu Khazin, has a very famous podcast, Conversations with Lulu. She designed her own website in 15 minutes. She put up a LinkedIn post, and I messaged her actually. I was like, literally takes 15 minutes. She's like, yeah, I took a quote from one of the developers. She just wanted how can you make a website? And they were like, we'll charge you $3,000. And she's like, a quote from one of the developers, like, I just need a very basic website. She's like, I made it in $30.
Yeah.
He has just paid the basic subscription fee, and I got a whole website working. Everything is done. It's hosted. Everything is done.
Yeah.
So it's how all these things that we always thought about is so difficult, websites, management, building, apps, they're becoming so easy.
Well done to Lulu, but I do think that you still need someone who knows what they're doing on this stuff.
At least basic stuff, right? Because when the code comes in front of you, you're like, what is this happening?
Because you want to make it good as well.
Yeah.
Like
workable also.
Yeah, like we, Augustus Media, we have our team of developers in Egypt, and they're doing a lot of code on AI, and I think that those guys will be the ones using Replit.
Yes.
Not you and me, Majid, but I could be wrong.
I think Lovable is easier because it gives you everything directly. It's also reached 1 billion mark. It's a foreign setup, but Replit
we prefer Amjad Masad's Replit.
Replit is better. So yeah. And obviously we need to talk about just some of the events because it's buzzing around here. First of all, Binance Blockchain Week 2025 is in day 2. It's such a great event. I saw a few clips.
That's in Dubai, right?
Yeah,
Coca-Cola Arena.
Dubai,
So Binance are obviously a few thousand people employees based in UAE. They're having their own Binance week, and they're brilliant at events. If you have a chance to get to a Binance event, I recommend you go. And then separately in the crypto space, Bitcoin Mina is taking place next week in Abu Dhabi. We'll be involved in that too. And on top of that, as well next week, there's the biggest first time entry into event space for media is Bridge Summit done by Moroccan Richard Atias's an associates group behind FII. They're launching a huge event in Abu Dhabi. The headline speakers there are basically the global who's who of media. It really is, the founders of all the big American, UK, Arab media companies. We've got Naguib Suarez, we have Gary Vaynerchuk, we have Jim Bancroft from Vox, we have the guys behind, Semaphore, Justin Smith, we have lots of big, well-known personalities like Arsene Wenger, huge names.
Idris Elba. And Sir Martin Sorrell.
Sir Martin Sorrell, whose
important
share price is definitely struggling on SRL Capital at the moment. But, so there's a lot of big media entities involved in Abu Dhabi, and by the looks of it, they're doing it in Adnec, the same place where Bitcoin media. So good luck getting around there. We'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have a booth. Our team down there, Hamdan and the team will be managing it. I'll be speaking on a panel on Tuesday and I think Wednesday as well. on the back of the F1 weekend, right?
Oh, yes.
So F1 fever starts today in Abu Dhabi.
Thursday, yes.
Yeah, so tomorrow there's the first practice.
Yeah.
First and second practice tomorrow, and then third practice on Saturday, and then the winner takes all race on Sunday.
Oh, that was, I saw a lot of posts from my F1 fan friends, and it's going to be like, again, going to the wire.
It's gone down to the
right?
wire, yeah. They talk about the famous Abu Dhabi 2021, where it went down to the last race of the season and the last lap.
Oh, yes.
So we have three people. We have the two McLarens, Lando and Piastri. And then we have Max Verstappen of Red Bull, sandwiched between them now on points.
Who are you in favor of?
I think there's 25 points up for grabs, and he's 12 behind Max. So if Max wins and Lando finishes outside the top three, Lando just has to finish in the top three.
Yeah.
So I like Max because
everyone likes Max.
Well, everyone here likes Max, but in the UK they don't like him.
Why?
Because the British media serve them up British racers, and it's just like every media. Like we're just serving up Amjad and Masad over Lovable. We're not talking about the founder of Lovable, but someone in Europe should be talking. You know, and I think it's the nature of media. You support your home team.
Yes.
You support your, and the British media are very entrenched with the history of F1. It's basically F1 is Bernie Ecclestone's, Silverstone, like all the history, so much history of racing as Europe, like Europe as well, but and you have international racers, but the British media really love their F1. And
they love Hamilton?
Yeah, they love Lewis now, in the past, and now obviously Lando Norris is British, so, it escapes me. I can picture him. There's another guy, but yeah. So they go for those guys, and then Max is fairly brutal in front of the media. His interviews are fairly abrupt and provocative, and they say all sorts of things about him. But it's going to be exciting in Abu Dhabi this weekend for sure. There's a lot of things happening down there. The capital of capital is, and fair play to them. I remember when I came here first, that racetrack was in its infancy, and it wasn't full. In the early years of F1, and now it is full.
I was trying to buy a ticket.
No, not for love or money. Ticket. No way.
They're like, no, not even the VVIP access. No. They're like, sorry, all full. Yeah. But yeah, that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business, and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
Thank you. This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Gustus Media Podcast Network. Big shout out to our more than 2 million monthly reach across all platforms. You make this possible. We appreciate you, and have a great day.
Bye-bye.